problems that are in this section, and if your position is f of t, then what is your velocity? Do you remember that? Kevin, do you remember? It's f prime of t. And what's your acceleration? Okay, Matt, if you are starting with your acceleration, how would you get back to the position? So you find the antiderivative. You'd have to do it twice to get back to the position. And you know on the exam they're going to have both. They're going to be giving you the position and have you find the velocity, or actually they probably give you the velocity, have you find the position, which is an integral, and find the acceleration, which is a derivative. It's most likely what they're going to do. Okay, so let's do this problem. This is really just like what we did yesterday, it's just in context. Okay, find the position given the acceleration. And it says a particle moves, whoops. Okay, a particle moves in a straight line and it has an acceleration given by this formula. A of t is equal to 6t plus 4. And they don't introduce the integral symbol, so we won't. We'll just do this. And the initial velocity, v of 0, is equal to negative 6 centimeters per second. And its initial position, s of 0, is equal to 9 centimeters. Well, v of 0 is just really the first derivative. And you're given the second derivative. So to find v of t, we are going to find the antiderivative. So it's 6t, what's going to happen to t? Squared over 2 plus 4t plus some constant. Now, some of you want to use falling body, but that's only true if you have a constant acceleration. So if you don't have a constant one, which we don't, then we have a problem. We have to do it this way. So I'm going to simplify that. V of t is equal to 3t squared plus 4t plus c. Now I'm going to use my initial condition right here. So v of 0 equals negative 6 equals 3 times 0 plus 4 times 0 plus c. So c is equal to negative 6. Negative 6. I've made enough mistakes today, I would question myself. No. You have to watch your units. Negative 32 feet per second squared. Okay, now we want to find our position. So my v equation, except I don't have it here, v is equal to 3t squared plus 4t minus 6. Now, to find your position equation, you just find the antiderivative of this. So what's this going to give you? T cubed plus 4t squared over 2. You can see that it's 2t squared. That's fine. I'm just showing all the steps. Minus 6t plus some other constant called k. Even though I used c twice yesterday, it really wasn't a good thing because it isn't the same value. And now we're going to substitute s of 0 in here. So s of 0 equals 9 equals, luckily they gave us 0 because it makes the arithmetic a lot easier. 0 plus 0 minus 0 plus that constant. But it's not always, s of 0, this 9 centimeters, is not always this constant that's added at the end. You really have to go through the work. T cubed plus 2t squared minus 6t plus 9. Is that all that's being asked? And then they gave us the initial position. No. They want the position equation, not s of 0, but s of t, which is what we have. We're done. We can check it with the book, too, because it's right out of the book. That's where the example numbers don't start with 1, they started with 2. And there are some problems. If you look through that blue packet, On the multiple choice stuff, was it the last page? I'm sorry, 19 shouldn't have been there. That's really for AB, but you should know how to do it eventually. Number 91, it's the second to last page. 91 says the height of an object is measured. What's the height of the object at the instant when it reaches its maximum upward velocity? Well, that's very similar. Right. I mean, it's just the same kind of problem, these physics equations.
They give us physics credit?
You look at 91. No? Well, they gave you an equation.
So can we use whatever one we know?
If it's multiple choice, it doesn't matter. You know, it just doesn't matter. So I like to do these problems by drawing a picture, because I need to see what's going on. I have the ground, and I'm going to throw a ball up into the air. It's not going to go into the air unless I give it a velocity. If I do nothing, it's not going anywhere. So you have to give it a force, which gives it a velocity. So I like to write my problems like this. When t is equal to 0, the very beginning, what's your position at the bottom? It's 0, and the velocity, the initial velocity is 48 feet per second. And you have a problem that might use some of this on the free response. If you turn the page, it's question 3, 2009 question 3. They have this diver. They didn't like it that year, by the way. They didn't like that problem. So it's, it's going to use some of this, not a whole lot more than that. Oh, it's from the edge of a cliff. Oh, I better fix my cliff here. No, you must use the calculus. Sorry. You must suffer. There's my cliff. Okay. This is 432 feet. Find the height above the ground t seconds later. When does it reach its maximum height? When does it hit the ground? So it's going to do this, then it's going to do this, right? Okay. Here's my maximum height. And I don't know what the time is. What's the velocity there? 0. And s equals, I don't know. And then it says, when does it reach its maximum height? When does it hit the ground? So here, I don't know what t is. And actually, this s is not 0. It's what? Because I didn't read the whole problem. This is 432 feet. Because you're starting at the top of the cliff. So what's s here? 0. You could keep that at 0 and make that negative 432. It doesn't matter. And what's your velocity? I don't know. That helps me, because I want to write all these equations up. And yeah, I will use some physics equations. We could prove them if we wanted to. Because what's acceleration due to gravity? Negative 32 feet per second squared. So what's our velocity equation? Now this is a constant acceleration, so I know the equations. But if you're on the exam and if you've never taken physics, it's going to be 32 times t plus some constant, c. I'm proving why these formulas are what they are. So when t is equal to 0, what's my velocity? I have it right here. The ordered pair is t is 0, what's the velocity? 48. So 48, sorry, pardon? Is equal to negative 32. On the AP exam, yes, I would expect to see this work. But it'll be different. Do the diving problem. So what's c equal to? 48. Just be careful. It's not always the initial velocity. It depends on what your formula is. It is for a falling body. Plus 48. Okay. How do I get my position equation? So I'm going to take the antiderivative, so it's negative 32 t squared over 2 plus 48t plus some other constant called k. And,
No, you can't.
well, we've already used c. It wouldn't, I mean, you can, nobody's going to fault you on that, but it's not good. Okay, so I want to find k, and when t is 0, what's my position? 432 feet, right? So, k is going to be 432. Equals negative 16t squared plus 48t plus k. Whoops, except what's t? That's 0. So that's going to go away, and k is equal to 432. Now, you might have known the equations, which is fine. So it's negative 16t squared plus 48t plus 432. And then we can just use these equations. So I have this one, and I have my velocity here. To get the maximum height, what's true about the velocity? We have it right in here. It's 0. So I can find the time it takes to get to the maximum height. I don't know what the height is. I need to know the time. If I look at the equation down here, I say, I don't know the time, but I can find it. So v is equal to 0, which 0 is equal to maximum height. Let me label that. It's negative 32t plus 48, right? So 32t equals 48. And this should be nice numbers, I'm hoping. And we divide by 32. What goes into 32 and 48? Without a calculator. 16. 16 goes into 48 3 times. And goes into 32 2 times. So my time is 1.5. And we're in seconds, right? So it takes a second and a half to get to the maximum height. So what is the maximum height? What are you going to do with this number? And if this were a free response question, you could leave it just like this. Actually, I prefer 3/2 squared plus 48 times 3/2, because I don't have a calculator handy, plus 432. Want to do it? I don't know what the answer is. I have to do it. So this is negative 16 times 9/4 plus, no you don't, but you might want to know, plus 432. And 4 goes into 16 once, and 4. So S is equal to negative 36. Half of 48 is 24. What's 24 times 3? Quick. 72. I memorized it. After 30-some years, I think I know something. Not a lot, but something. And then you could add those up. So it's going to be 36. This is going to give me 36 plus 432. Where are you looking at?
We get negative 32t plus c. Do we just, how did that?
Because I find the antiderivative of this.
Oh.
I didn't want to use a symbol because they haven't used a symbol. They would tell you on the exam. Because they don't want you to get it wrong for a silly reason. And they want to make it easy for us to read it. So we don't want to read through a problem that you use the acceleration negative 10 or something. Because then I got to go through all your calculations and it'll take us forever to grade it. We have 500,000 exams to grade. There's 850 teachers. This is just math. This is just the calculus. And then the biology people are there, and the psych people are there. And
We should put a lot of work so it takes longer.
no, we don't get paid anything extra. And if I add that up, it's 468 feet. Hope it's right. We grade one problem at a time. Yes, some go fast, some don't. Don't write too much, because that you have a better chance of losing some points. Be succinct. You know what succinct means.
No, it's like math, the only class that they tell you not to write too much.
No, it's true in all of them.
Keep your life safe, write as much as you can. As long as you don't write wrong.
Yeah, as long as you don't write wrong information. You need to make sure you're complete. They don't even want you to write too much there either.
Really?
Wait, are you an AP Bio?
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Okay, what's the next one? Oh, when does it hit the ground? What's true on the ground?
0.
The position is 0. I don't know the velocity, and I don't know the time either. They could have asked for the velocity when it hits the ground, but they didn't. Usually they do. So S equals 0. Hits the ground. Now, if you have my programs on your graphing calculator, there's a quadratic formula program. And they haven't fixed my machine yet, my calculator that I know of. Or you could just graph this. Since I don't have a calculator, I'm going to guess that 16 goes into 432 an even number of times. How much is it? 27? Take out negative 16. I don't like my squared term to be negative. I don't do well with that. Minus 3t minus 27, right? Does that factor? No, they would want you to use the differential equations. They won't give you something this simple. That'll be more complicated. Well, you'd have to use the differential equations. So that doesn't look to me like it's going to factor. Do you guys want to, do you have your calculators? I'm going to use quadratic formula on my calculator. I'm hoping it's on this one. And if you don't have them, you should have them. Quad. There's also another thing that everybody has if you have the apps, and I can get you the app too. So mine says quad. It's too bad that we didn't do Newton's because I have a Newton's method, Newton program on it. And just press enter, and then it says program quad, so I'm going to press enter. So A is 1, B is negative 3 if I didn't make a sign mistake, and C is negative 27. This should give me an exact answer. Oh no, it didn't. Now, how many decimals should you have? So 6.908. You may truncate. You do not have to round. And then we also have negative 3.908. That's right. Where's the what? It's program, quad, and then just extra for A, B, and C. And this one, it can't be negative. And so there's your time. T equals 6.908 if you run all of them. It doesn't hurt you even if I copy them wrong. And by the way, if we can clearly see you made a copy error, we give you the points. If you're carrying a negative sign all the way through and then all of a sudden you forgot to do the negative sign at the very end, well, you'll get the points. No?
So you did put the quad.
Oh. I did or didn't?
You did.
Oh, yeah, I should have, yeah.
You just go to programs.
Yep, just go to program and then you... No, the applications are the ones you get from TI. I don't think you can change those. Well, if you can change them, then you're smart enough to get an A in this class. Okay, any questions on this? That's the physics that finishes chapter 4. Pardon? Oh, it's just antiderivatives, day 1.
So for physics, on the BC Calc exam, this is all that they're going to have on it. So they're going to have anything else with physics on here?
I don't know. Sometimes they ask when things are speeding up and slowing down. Do this one. This is a physics problem. And then I'm gonna rework the problems too because they're hard. Don't do things that are not taught in this class, because then they have to go to some of the other graders, some of the professors, and have it graded. And I think you're much better off if you don't do that. There's an integrating factor for integrals, and I saw a lot of that. But I knew how to do the integrating factor, so I could grade that one. But it wasn't good because a lot of the teachers didn't know how to do it. So don't only use concepts taught in this class. Yeah, you probably could do vectors. Why don't you do us a favor? Do it both ways. And let us know.